Hi friends, it's Michelle back again with another vlog about a haul, but it's a library haul. It's a library haul. First of all, let's do some housekeeping. As you can see behind me, the box there is we're putting together some donations from my mom's stuff that we're going through her room. And there is the golden box of the new bookshelf for the new library. Are we so excited? I'm so excited. Can't wait to get that put together and get all my books in one location. All my to be read books in one location. So that's why there's some boxes. I could move them, but the energy's not there today, so we're gonna leave them right there. I also have the dog right here, Mabel, who you haven't met yet. And she is sniffing all the library books because you know the library books come home and they smell sometimes kind of gross. Most of the time okay. Most of the time they're okay. Have a cup of coffee. Because coffee and books, those are my things. Those are my love language. Is that a thing? I wanted to go through the books I got from the library because there are quite a few. Not as many as last month, which I can't remember who I told this to, but I had predicted that they would mostly go back unread, which they did go back unread. I have a couple that I've already shown you, I believe. I have The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell and the Mrs. Polifax book for my book club. Those are two book club books that I'm reading this month. And let me give you a quick reading update. That would help too, because so it is, as I'm filming this, it is February 22nd, and I have completed in entirety 2 books. Feels kind of weird, but it's okay. You know, sometimes reading comes and goes, but most of the time I read I would say between 8 and 10 books a month. So only having 2 read in the entirety has been a little, I don't know how to describe it. Just feels weird, feels a little strange. And I want to read. I really do want to read. I just haven't really had the focus to do it. I haven't had the focus for audiobooks either. One of my book club books, well, actually both of my book club books I have on audio as well, so I can try and catch up on those. Either way, I need to read them. But with that said, March coming up is 2 of my favorite readathons. One of them is Middle Grade March, and the other is the Irish Readathon. My mom's side of the family is from Ireland, and so I've been to Dublin for a very short period of time and really enjoyed it over there. So I want to read more Irish books as well. I did the readathon last year, the Irish Readathon last year, and really enjoyed it. So some of these books are related to those readathons, and I'll link the creators of the readathons below. Some of them are just hold books that came up, or the other one, let me go get it. I have for the past couple of years followed the Women's Prize for Fiction, and they just came out with their list for their first ever nonfiction, and I enjoy fiction, nonfiction equally. I have some of the books that are long listed for the Women's Prize for Nonfiction. That is new this year. So I will be sharing with you, and I've started one of those as well, and I'm enjoying it. So Michelle, enough rambling. Let's get into the books. So let's start with the ones for the Women's Prize for Nonfiction, the ones that I got. These were ones I couldn't find on audio because I do prefer to listen to my nonfiction. I could not find them on audio, but I did find them at my library, so I went ahead and picked up a couple. The first one I have on here is Wifedom, Mrs. Orwell's Invisible Life by Anna Funder. So this is about George Orwell's wife, who, her name is Eileen O'Shaughnessy, and she was a writer as well, but very little is known about her. And I've only just started, bookmarks right there, but I'm really enjoying the writing, to the point where I already looked up what else Anna Funder has written. So we'll see how I get on this. I've actually never read George Orwell. I somehow missed having to read Animal Farm in school, and yeah, so I've never read his work before, but this one I actually didn't think too much about. You know, I got the copy and thought I would try it, and I'm enjoying it, so we'll see how far I get into that one. It's a chunker. The other one that I got out that is longlisted for the Women's Prize for Nonfiction is Young Queens, The Renaissance Women and the Price of Power by Lee Redmond Chang. And this is about Catherine de Medici. And her daughter Elizabeth de Fallos and Mary Queen of Scots. So it follows those three queens and the changes that they experienced during 16th century Europe. Yeah, so in 16th century Europe, we know there was a lot of wars and very interesting royal family discussions. So I don't know if I'll get through the whole thing of this, or if I'll just end up, there are some pictures as well. So yeah, this is one of the other, family trees. That's always good. That is really helpful with the royal families and the history and who they married and how they're related. Okay, so the next, we're just gonna jump in because they don't really have any, they aren't for any specific readathon or anything like that. So I picked up The Bluest Eye from Toni Morrison. My hold for the audiobook had come up, and so I wanted to get the hard copy as well to read along to it. And somehow I accidentally returned my hold for The Bluest Eye on Libby to the library. So now I have the hard copy, which is fine. I read The Bluest Eye in, I want to say college, but I have very little memory of this book. And I wanted to read it again. This is a book that I just found. I like to peruse the new books shelf at the library, the fiction and nonfiction. And this is Lessons from the COVID War, an investigative report by the COVID Crisis Group. I'm just very curious. This is a nonpartisan and plain-spoken lessons from the COVID war, makes sense of many fronts in the pandemic fight, zeroing in on key choices. It spotlights what we can do better next time, because there will be a next time. Our scientific knowledge has far outpaced our organized ability to apply it in a crisis. Improvising desperately, many Americans displayed ingenuity and dedication to the war against COVID, yet encountered institutions and leadership that made success difficult and failure easy. So this just takes another viewpoint of what happened during the pandemic. And as the blurb says, I do believe that this is just kind of the start of illnesses that are going to be highly contagious. So I want to read more about that. Let's see. This is called Prayer in the Night by Tish Harrison Warren. For those who work or watch or weep. I had heard about this author on BookTube. It says this is an excerpt from the prologue. Faith, I've come to believe, is more craft than feeling, and prayer is our chief practice in the craft. In our deepest moments of anxiety and darkness, we enter into this craft of prayer, often trembling and feeble. Most often we take up prayer not out of triumph, victory, or unimpeachable trust, but because prayer shapes us. It works back on us to change who we are and what we believe. Patterns of prayer draw us out of ourselves, out of our own time-bound moment, into the long story of Christ's work in and through his people over time. I do identify as a Christian. Prayer is very important to my life, and I saw this in an author that I had heard about, so I wanted to give that a try. The next one is Afterpart Stories by Anthony Vasnaso. This is a debut story collection about Cambodian American life, immersive and comic, yet unsparing, that offers profound insight into the intimacy of queer and immigrant communities. This I had heard about from Hannah May, and unfortunately this author passed away in 2020. And this is his first work, his debut. And I'm really curious to read it. I've heard it's beautiful writing, and I'm always interested to hear immigrant stories. These are a couple of kids' books that I got mainly to read for my nephew, who is 7. He is coming to visit me, and I wanted to get a couple to see if he would like them. The first one I know he would like because it's Pokemon. Everybody loves Pokemon. This is Welcome to Alola. This is a Scholastic book. Yeah, so I hope to read that with him when he comes. And then I saw a couple that were of interest to me that I hope to read maybe in March, for middle grade March. This is Jasmine's Notebook by Nikki Grimes. I've enjoyed Nikki Grimes' poetry, and so I saw this and wanted to give it a try. This is Jasmine Shelby knows how to fight. After all, she's always had to. Her dad died a couple of years back, and now that her mom's in the hospital, it's just her and her sister Cece. That's okay by Jasmine. She's got her stoop on Amsterdam Avenue where she can keep an eye on all the neighborhood action. She's got her friends Sophie and Destiny to keep her laughing, and most of all, she's got her notebook filled to the brim with poetry, laughter, and her own irrepressible views on life, Harlem, and just about everything else. Yeah, so it just sounds about a young girl in a hard situation and trying to take care of her family. And then the other one, I've seen these around, the She Persisted books, and I have not read any yet, but I've always loved FloJo. Florence Griffith Joyner. She was called the fastest woman in the world. Is that what she was called? Yeah, considered the fastest woman of all time. Florence Griffith Joyner, also known as FloJo, set 2 world records in 1988 that still stand today. But getting there wasn't easy, and FloJo had to overcome many challenges along the way. She succeeded in achieving her dreams and inspired creative self-expression and a new generation of athletes as she did. So I am very interested in reading that. This is written by Rita Williams Garcia. Okay, we're almost there. A couple other, yeah, I'm here. A couple other children's books. I saw this came up as a suggestion, and I really liked, if you can see, I really liked the illustrations on this, and so I just wanted to check it out. This is called If I Was a Horse by Sophie Blackall, who is also the illustrator. And then this one is A Scapegoat by Anne Patchett and Robin Priest Glasser. This is, it's hard to get my face and the book in the frame. These are big books. And this is by Anne Patchett, who has written books for adults. I've read a couple of her, have I read a couple? I know I've read The Dutch House, which I enjoyed. So I was curious to see what her children's book is like. These are kind of a little bit young for my nephew, but he will still enjoy looking at the pictures. He loves animals, so that'll be good. And then have all of these on the floor. Okay, got them. One that I was good about, because I'm not buying new books, as in new releases that cost $30 a hardback. This is a book that I would have bought if I wasn't holding myself back. This is 1,000 Words, A Writer's Guide to Staying Creative, Focused, and Productive All Year Round by Jami Attenberg. I really love Jami Attenberg's writing. I've read her fiction books before. And of course I can't remember off the top of my head what they're called. All Grown Up was one, I think. But her nonfiction, which was called, where's the list of books? Right, so the fiction was All Grown Up. And then her memoir, I Came All This Way to Meet You, was so good. So good. Highly recommend that one. But this one I was really interested in because I do enjoy writing, just as a way of creative expression. And I have followed her project. She used to do this in the summer on social media. I think it was just on Instagram, where you would write 1,000 words a day, and then it was a hashtag moment. So it says, in 2018, novelist Jami Attenberg, faced with a looming deadline, needed motivation. Using a boot camp model, she and a friend set out to write 1,000 words every day for 2 weeks. They opened this practice to Attenberg's online community, and soon hundreds, then thousands of people started using hashtag 1,000 words of summer to track their work and support one another. What began as a simple challenge between two friends has become a literary movement. Write 1,000 words per day without judgment, bias, or concern about writer's block. Just see what comes. And so this is advice from more than 50 beloved writers. So I'm really curious about this. Let me see who's on the back. Megan Abbott, Rumen Alam, Kristen Arnett, Melissa Phoebos, Megan Giddings, Roxane Gay, Lauren Groff, Jasmine Guillory, Attica Locke is in here. Yeah, there's some really great writers in here. Brian Washington. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I think eventually I would like to get it when it comes out in paperback. I've mentioned before that I like paperbacks better. So I'll use it from the library, and then probably get a paperback if I enjoy it, get a paperback to highlight and mark up. Then I got Everything I Know About Love, Dolly Alderton's memoir. I read my first Dolly Alderton in January. I read Ghosts, and I really enjoyed the writing. So I thought I would try this. It says, when it comes to trials and triumphs of becoming an adult, Dolly Alderton has seen and experienced it all. Everything I Know About Love is about bad dates, good friends, and above all else, realizing that you are enough. Wildly funny, occasionally heartbreaking, it's about growing up, growing older, and learning to navigate friendships, jobs, loss, and romance along the way. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. This one I wanted to get Tananarive Dew's book, The Reformatory, and there's a long wait for that. And what was her other one that just came out? This is an older of her books. So The Good House, I think, was the other one. There was a long wait on that as well. So I just thought I would try some of her writing, because I haven't read her writing before, but from what I've heard of The Reformatory, it sounds like something I would like. So this is Ghost Stories. Whether weaving family life and history into dark fiction or writing speculative Afrofuturism, American Book Award winner and Essence best-selling author Tananarive Dew's work is both riveting and enlightening. In Ghost Summer Stories, her debut collection of short fiction, Dew takes us to a small Florida town haunted by both literal and figurative ghosts, and into future scenarios that seem all too possible, and provides empathetic portraits of those whose lives are touched by otherness. So it has an award-winning novella and 15 stories that have never been published before. Yeah, that sounds really good too. All right, and this one, I have no idea why I got it out. I think I saw it on a list from, I don't know. I will see lists on usually Book Riot, and they'll sound really interesting to me, and then I'll go to the library and see if they have them. So that's what I think this is from. It's called To Throw Away Unopened by Viv Albertine, and it is, what was I fighting for? Even now I'm not sure. Something so old and so deep, it has no words, no shape, no logic. Viv Albertine has always been obsessed with the truth about family, power, and her identity as a rebel and outsider. But at what cost? In this gaping wound of a memoir, she excavates the fear, loneliness, and anger that always lies beneath. With the brutal honesty that made close, music, boys, so unique, she relentlessly exposes human dysfunctionality, the impossibility of intimacy, and the damage wrought upon us by secrets and revelations, siblings and parents. I love a good memoir. Always love a good memoir. She's a singer and songwriter of the Slits, a British band, so we'll try that as well. And I can say a lot of times the library books, especially when I get a big stack all at once, I will try a chapter or two and see if I like it and want to continue with it, and then I'll keep it out, or if not, I'll take them back. So these are a couple of books that you'll probably see again in, I'm going to do a TBR pile of possibilities for my 2 readathons that I'm going to do in March, the Middle Grade March and the Irish Readathon. So for Middle Grade March, I got out The Edge of In Between by Lorelei Savarin. The cover is beautiful. One of the prompts for Middle Grade March is a book with an animal on a cover, and I know it's very small, but there are birds on this cover. Lottie lives in Vivelle, a vibrant city where life exists in brilliant technicolor and everybody is born with magic. And Lottie is no exception, but when tragedy strikes, color is stripped from Lottie's heart and from the world around her. Taken in by her reclusive, eccentric uncle, Lottie moves into Forsaken, a vast manor located in the gray wasteland between the land of the living and ever after and the land of the dead. There, Lottie discovers more secrets and mysteries than she ever dreamed possible. A locked-up garden, a wise cardinal, a hidden boy, and a family whose world is full of color despite the bleakness around them. Though Lottie feels nothing but despair, the people and things she encounters in Forsaken begin to pull at the threads of her heart, slowly returning some of the color to Lottie's world. So it's going to talk about love and loss, magic and hope. Yeah, I'm interested in this one as well. For Middle Grade March, sorry, shaking. This is Riot by Walter Dean Myers, and I have not read Walter Dean Myers before, but I've heard a lot of great things about him. This is during a long, hot July in 1863, the worst race riots the United States has ever seen erupt in New York City. Earlier that year, desperate for more Union soldiers, President Abraham Lincoln instituted a draft that would allow the wealthy to escape serving in the army by paying $300 waiver, more than a year's income for the recent immigrant Irish. And on July 11th, as the first drawing takes place, the city of New York explodes in rage and fire. Stores are looted, buildings are burned down, and Black Americans are attacked, beaten, and murdered. 15-year-old Claire, the beloved daughter of a Black father and Irish mother, finds herself torn between the two warring sides. Faced with the breakdown of the city, the home she has loved, Claire must discover the strength and resilience to address the new world in which she finds herself, and to begin the hard journey of remaking herself and her identity. That sounds heartbreaking, based on history. So, yeah, I'm really interested in reading that. And that fits the Middle Grade March prompt for a title with one word. Let me get some coffee. It's gonna be cold, right? It's lukewarm. Okay, so for the Irish Readathon, there's a prompt to read a book for children by an Irish author. And then there's a middle grade prompt to read a book that you feel like you missed out on. And so I'm going to fill both of those prompts with this one, Artemis Fowl by, I'm horrible at Irish names, Ewan Colfer? Am I saying that right? Probably not. I apologize, Mr. Colfer, if I did that wrong. I've heard all about this, I think in their movie too, and I have never read it. So, stay back, human. You don't know what you're dealing with. 12-year-old Artemis Fowl is a millionaire, a genius, and above all, a criminal mastermind. But even Artemis doesn't know what he's taken on when he kidnaps a fairy, Captain Holly, short of the Leprechaun unit. These aren't the fairies of bedtime stories. These fairies are armed and dangerous. Sounds like a good little mystery suspense kids book. Also, maybe it's just me, but it gets harder and harder to read these Dust Jackets, the synopsis. There's been a couple in this pile that maybe it's me. My eyes are getting old, but it's hard to read. Read those. So the last book, is that the last book? That's the last book that I have to share with you. This is Big Girl Small Town by Michelle Gallen. This is for the Irish Readathon. It says, Majella is happiest out of the spotlight, away from her neighbors' stares and the gossips of the small town in Northern Ireland where she grew up in the wake of the Troubles. So basically it's going to talk about her life, which is very small, and she works at the local chip shop and takes care of her mother, and then things happen that kind of reveal more options for life for her. Or that's what I got from the synopsis. I am looking forward to reading this. I got this out last year for the Irish Readathon, and I remember reading the beginning of it and liking it, but I ran out of time with all the books that I wanted to read. So hopefully I'll get to it this time around. So that is my large library haul. I will be filming a TBR for each readathon. I was going to try and do it in one video for Middle Grade March and the Irish Readathon, but the stacks are really big, and these are, my TBRs are piles of possibilities, right? So we'll see. I think I'll probably do two separate videos and make it two shorter videos instead of one really long video. Since I'm new to the editing world, that'll be nicer to myself. Anyway, let me know, do you check out books from your library? I love my library. The librarians are awesome there, and yes, they know me. I go in probably once a week to return a few things, pick up a few things, and I just love the atmosphere there. The one thing I wish is, I wish there was a space that you could sit in the library and read and have coffee. But obviously in most libraries you can't have a drink with you. And I just really enjoy that kind of atmosphere. We don't really have anything close around here, around where I live, that gives kind of that atmosphere. We used to have a Barnes & Noble that had that cafe, and you could work or read in the cafe with the books all around you. I love that feeling. That's like my perfect place. But that Barnes & Noble closed, and there's none close to me anymore. So That is a bummer. I'll have to see if any of my, I don't think any of my local indie bookstores have cafes in them either. There's a thought. So anyway, I'm just rambling now. So I'm going to say goodbye and I will see you again soon. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon.